So the first thing that I'm going to mention is men naturally want to protect and to provide. Regardless if they say that or not, that is instilled in our society, that men protect and provide. It's just what it is. So naturally, men grow up believing that, okay, I need to provide protection, I need to provide money, provision, safety for my wife, my spouse, whoever, my family. And that is why a lot of the times men cling onto the idea of providing and protecting as part of their identity, when it really shouldn't be a part of their identity. It should be something that they want to do naturally. It's supposed to be a value. It's not supposed to be an identifier of that, oh, you are the provider, right? So providing isn't just money. Like I was saying before, providing is also safety. It's healthy communication. It's holding emotional space, men that have emotional maturity. Providing, I'm not the type of channel where I'm going to tell you you have to find a man that makes X amount of money, has all like 6-7 figures, whatever it is. If that's the kind of man that you want, a totally wealthy man, that's like a share 7 thing. You can go look at her stuff. But providing as a healthy masculine man is more than just how much money he makes. The number one thing a woman needs in a relationship is safety. She needs a man that makes her feel safe. If you have a guy that has nothing going for him, he's bumming it, he doesn't know what he's doing, that is going to put the woman in her masculine mode. That's going to put you in your masculine mode because you want to try and fix him or change him or constantly help him, right? And there's also a difference between a generous man and a rich man. So, well, no. Yes, there's being generous and then there's being rich. There are men that are both, right? You can have a totally wealthy man that is very generous with his money. You can find a man that makes a regular salary job, blue collar job, and he's just as generous. But a lot of people confuse, oh, this guy's wealthy, has a lot of money, like that's a provider. No, just because he's wealthy does not mean that he has a provider mindset. That's the thing. Provision and protection is a mindset. Like, not every man has that mindset. And just because a man has money, and let's say he is super wealthy and he's not doing specifically 50-50, that doesn't mean that he's going to be generous with his money. That doesn't mean that he's going to give it to you, right? And then on the flip side, when you have a guy that has no money or has no motivation or doesn't know what he's doing, has no life purpose, then in the same vein, he's not going to be generous either. Maybe generous with his time, but he's going to wind up wanting you to kind of carry him in his own life through the relationship, right? So again, when you have a man that's providing for you, like for me personally, my husband, he enjoys providing for me because it fuels him. Our feminine energy as women fuels and motivates a man. The happiness that we give them motivates a man to provide. And we're going to talk about that later, about when a guy asks what you bring to the table. A secure masculine man, a healthy man, will want to fill you up. He is going to want to provide for you because your feminine energy and your happiness, when he comes into the home, right? When a guy is out at work and he's working and grinding, because also keep that in mind. That's something I want to add. When you have a man that is a provider and a protector and wants to, make money for the family, he's not going to have all the time in the world. These are men that they don't sit at home and they're always on their phones, right? They're going to be busy. They're busy people. So if you have a guy that is constantly, on blowing up your phone and talking to you, that's probably not the man that's going to provide for you. One that is consistently, putting things on social media, putting selfies up all the time. Like that's kind of not the man that's probably going to provide for you, right? So a masculine, healthy man with a provider mindset, he is going to go to work where it's filled with masculinity and masculine energy. He's going to want to come home and he wants to feel that feminine energy. He wants to feel that safe space where he can be vulnerable, where he can let his guard down. He can be more emotional, that kind of thing. So what happens if you find a 50-50 man? So there's two things. There's insecurity or there's jealousy. Sometimes there's both. Usually I've noticed it's one or the other. So if you make more than a man and they rule from their ego, they're usually gonna want fairness, right? So if you are in a relationship and let's say a guy is well off on his own, like he can make his own money, you know, he could actually maybe provide for himself and, you know, pay his own rent, but he meets you and he expects you to split the rent. Whether you make more, the same amount, doesn't matter. It's because they're in a mindset of fairness and their ego is probably bruised over the fact that they may only make a little bit more than you, or they don't feel like they are going to be the sole provider. They're insecure that that the man probably cannot benefit both of you, right? So their ego is bruised because of their lack. And instead of them knowing that they are lacking in some regard, whether it be they can't make more or they believe they can't make more money, or because you make more then, you know, you have to pay more, whatever their lack is, they're going, oh, I need a drink of water. They're gonna want you to provide for them to make them feel safe. So when someone is lacking and they're insecure and they don't have that kind of growth and abundance mindset, they're going to project it and reflect it onto you. So then that's going to, again, shift the polarity, and then you're in the masculine and he's going to be in the feminine, right? You are providing safety for him. You're giving him this reassurance. And, you know, you are saying, by saying, okay, yeah, I'll go 50-50 with you. I'll split this, I'll split that, whatever it may be. That's you trying to make them feel safe and make them feel secure in the relationship. When a man needs to come into a relationship and be ready for a relationship, already having that fullness and knowing his value and what he brings to the relationship, right? So when that happens, a man does not want to do inner work. He doesn't want to heal himself because he knows that he's insecure, his ego is bruised, he lacks his own safety, right? So what he's going to do is he's going to find a woman that will settle for the 50-50, however you want to navigate the relationship, and he's going to suck her of her energy, of her feminine energy. Like I said before, when you have a healthy masculine man, your feminine energy is going to enhance it. It's going to motivate him. So when you have a guy that wants to do 50-50, that is secretly insecure because he can't live up to what he sets his own expectations to, he's going to want to suck you of your femininity because that is what's going to heal him. It'll make him feel safe. It's going to make him feel better instead of him actually putting forth the work and putting forth the effort to heal his relationship with his own purpose, with money, with his life path, whatever it may be, right? And they'll usually leave after you're all burnt out. So when we sit with a man that is insecure and of not having life path, he doesn't have any capabilities, he doesn't know what he's doing, he has no money, he's bouncing to different jobs. When you have a man that is like that, you are going to get burnt out very quickly because, again, you are trying to heal him. He's not putting in the work to actually motivate himself and get better. So then what happens is they suck you of your feminine energy, they'll take it, and then they will go and find someone that makes them feel masculine, that makes them feel like they are doing enough, right? Because if you're sitting there and you're, trying to help him, apply to different jobs, or, you sit there and you're paying a bulk of the rent, or you're paying for most of the dates, that is going to make a wounded man very insecure, and he's not going to know how to deal with that. So while you're there building him up, he's going to search for a woman that makes him feel masculine, that makes him feel like he's a provider and a protector, that kind of gasses his head up and makes him feel like he's doing the right thing. While you think in your head, oh, I'm just helping out, we're ride or die. You're gonna put all your feminine energy, all your labor of love into him when he can't even do the work for himself. So then he's gonna go and find someone that actually makes him feel masculine enough, or makes him feel like he is doing the right thing, that makes him feel like he has a purpose. And this exact thing happened to me. So I was with a guy and it was a situationship, of course. It was kind of an on and off thing. It was consistent arguing. It was him not knowing what he was doing. He was, I think, 24. which is common. You know, you don't always know what you're doing. But he got a job at like the mall, and it was consistent. I was always giving him money. I was always paying for the dates. I was always begging him to come over. And, you know, I'd send him money for gas to come over. Like, I was always spending and spending and spending. I would help him with a resume, or I'd send him job opportunities, because I was trying to build a man. I was trying to build him up. And then towards the end of our situationship, about 4 or 5 months later, we're having an argument on the phone, and I can tell that he's so checked out. And I say, like, you know, is there someone else? And he pauses and he's like, kind of. And obviously the rage and anger that I felt was incredible, because you spend all that time trying to change someone and help heal them and build up a man. But he likes someone at his job that he didn't really know. He said, I don't really know her. You know, we've just talked, you know, in the break room or a little bit after work. I don't really know anything about her. And I said, well, she can have you. The thing is, though, I said that, and I still kind of talked to him a bit afterward for like a few weeks, but he did not have any emotional intelligence. He did not have vulnerability. He could not in any way. He was the definition of probably the wounded masculine man. He was actually more, I'd say, a feminine man. He needed someone to heal him. He wanted a mommy. He wanted someone that was going to put in all the effort to help him. And men have that at first, and they think, okay, like, this is helping me. Like, this is making me feel so much better. I have a woman that wants to do all these things. But then it bruises their ego, and it causes them to be insecure because they think that they cannot provide. And especially, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I want you to take me out. I would love for you to get me a Valentine's Day gift, whatever it may be. And he can't provide those things. Simple things. Men like that also should not be dating. Like, men should not be dating if they need to go 50-50. Like, if you need to go 50-50 to live on your own, I don't think it's a good idea. Don't think it's a good idea at all. So my second one is jealousy. So if you have a man that wants to go 50-50 with you, it is usually jealousy that is a huge factor in the end. And I also dealt with a guy like this, but when I was younger. I was 19, where I had a man that, and it's hard to say man because I was a teenager, but a guy that was very insecure of what I brought to the table and what I could do, right? So these men project their insecurities onto you. They'll make comments about your income, your education, or your degree. Like, they'll say, oh, like, you're high maintenance, Miss Moneybags, or you have a lot of money. Like, if a guy makes any comment to you about finances or what your income may look like, it's a red flag, because they are looking at you and your abundance, and they see that, and they may actually want to suck that from you, right? They see that, and they may envy it. They may be jealous of it. And they'll probably also think, okay, this is, you know, she has her own apartment. I could probably crash here. I could probably stay here while I try to get my own feet on the ground and I find my own apartment, right? And they will also want to belittle your achievements. And I remember when I was with this guy when I was 19, and I was in college. I was going into my junior year of college, and he was extremely insecure. And he admitted it. He said, you know, I just feel a certain way because you're in college and you're going in your junior year, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I was just like, what? And little did I know, he kept it a secret that he never even graduated high school. Listen, nothing wrong with that. If that happens, that happens. You can get a GED. Maybe you could figure it out, right? But he hid it because he's insecure. And on top of that, he was jealous of the fact that, you know, I was able to get a degree and go to college, and I came from, you know, luckily a 2-parent household. They're secretly envious of you and what you bring to the table, as they say. Oh yeah, and they will belittle your achievements. So I would talk about my college classes and things like that, and he would have no real interest in them. It didn't relate to him. Actually, when I met his mother, usually, you know, when you meet moms, They want to know about your education. They want to know what you're doing. His mom never asked me once about college or what do I study. Nothing about me. And let me take a drink. And that also kind of was a red flag for me. I'm like, you know, I'm a college age student. You're not going to ask me like what I'm doing. But it's because she probably knows her son might be insecure, or she knows her own son isn't in college. So, you know, how could we have that in common, right? And then these men will nitpick or want to control you because they don't have control of their own life. So when you are in a 50-50 relationship, and let's say, you know, this man is, you're paying half rent, or you're paying the rent and he crashes at the house, whatever it may be, they will nitpick things that you do, or they will want to dim your light on your achievements, right? Like they'll say, oh, you can say that you passed this class or you got a degree, but you got a 3.5 instead of a 4.0. They could probably be like, oh, just a 4.0 or just a 3.5. Like you couldn't, you're so smart. I really thought you'd get a 4.0. Like they will just kind of downplay the little things. Or let's say you're starting a business and you get, you know, your first client. And they'll probably just say, okay, yeah, keep going. Like, I really hope this works. You know, nothing encouraging, not, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. There's no encouragement in his words. It's more like he's downplaying what you're trying to do and how you're trying to build your own life because he has no control of his own. So a man is going to want to control a woman and her own life and her finances however you can. A 50-50 man wants control because he does not know what he's doing in his own life. And that makes him, again, insecure. It makes him jealous that a woman that he's supposed to be providing for and he knows that he's supposed to be taken care of, that a woman that is probably out of his league is doing better than him. And he's going to project that insecurity onto you, and he's going to be envious of the things that you've achieved. And sometimes they will bring up, you know, the privileges that you may have, right? And this also kind of bothered me with a guy that with the same guy that I was dating. My parents had recently finally bought their first house at like, you know, entering their 50s. And this was a big deal for them. And, you know, I was 19, you know, we came from an apartment, we were renting like all our lives, and they finally bought their first house, and I meet this guy, and he just comments on how big our house is. Really wasn't that big of a house, because he lived in this tiny townhome in the ghetto with, you know, with his family, which is fine. Like, life happens. I was once in a tiny apartment too in the Bronx with my family growing up. My parents, though, made decisions, and they, you know, were making moves, and they worked hard to get a house. And he also had a younger mom, so it happens. But he would constantly talk about my dad's, you know, our house, or my dad's car, that we were taking the good car. My dad has, I don't even know what car it is, a Chevy. It's like a regular Chevy SUV, you know. Those types of comments are the ones you have to look out for. Guys commenting on all the makeup you have, the designer fragrances that you may have, you know, your shoes, your expensive bag, your nice car. When they are consistently nitpicking at those things and making it a topic of conversation, they can get a sense of jealousy because they aren't at your level yet. And thus it also feeds into the insecurity because they may think, okay, she could potentially leave me because you could easily find someone that makes just as much as you or more. And men with no stability, no income, they don't have control of their life, will use women to level up. Like I mentioned before, they'll help you with jobs, resumes, their hygiene, health, or fitness. They will find a woman that will encourage them to eat better, to work out, all these things, while he does nothing for her. He does nothing to encourage her. Guy is going to use you and your resources as a way for him to better himself while he doesn't provide any value to you. So you can have a guy that wants to, you know, crash out on your couch, live with you, you know, you're not gaining anything from his presence. You're not gaining anything from the relationship, except maybe if he validates you here or there, right? And that's not enough. Validation or love does not build anything. It's not going to do anything when you have a family. So when you help level them up, whether it be you get them new clothes or you help them work out, you make them look better, you help them find a job or whatever it may be, because they don't have the motivation to do it themselves, right? You want to change them and motivate them so they can better themselves and meet you at your level, because you can sense when they're insecure or jealous. They will suck you of your femininity and your feminine energy to achieve their desires. So while you are, building him up and putting all your own energy into him instead of yourself, because this happened to me, I would waste so much time in college on guys to help them and build them and, make them stable, that I did not take school as seriously. I did not do as well in school as I would have liked. What your feminine energy does is fuel them to get their desires. But what is he doing for you? How are you getting motivated from him? What about him is admirable or inspirational that makes you want to keep going? If you can't think of anything, then he is using you. Whether he knows it or not, he is using you because he wants to level himself up, but he doesn't want to do the work on his own. He doesn't want to sit with himself and look in the mirror and be like, okay, like, I'm a loser. He doesn't want anyone to tell him that. He just wants to suck you of your feminine energy so he can better his own life. And once that happens, let me fix my hair. Once that happens and once they achieve what they want to achieve with you, you're going to be stuck in your own masculine energy and a sense of unsafety because you spent all this time building someone up and motivating them instead of also keeping room for yourself and working on yourself, because that's what everyone needs. We all need moments where we're working on ourselves. So when you have a man that puts you in your masculine energy and you are constantly trying to level him up and provide for him, then the polarity is going to be off. You're going to be the masculine, he's going to be in the feminine. He's going to constantly expect this of you. He's going to expect you to do things for him. He's going to count on you to motivate him. He's going to count on you and your actions to level up his own life, right? So next up, if he asks you what you bring to the table, you and your feminine energy motivates men to be better, which is why the 50-50 men constantly want to take from us. So when a man asks you, okay, what do you bring to the table? What a lot of men want to ignore or they don't want to admit is having a woman with you, having a woman outside, especially when you have a beautiful married woman, that levels them up. That increases their status. A lot of men are going to tell you this is not true, that's a lie, but it is scientifically proven men live longer when they have a wife. Men are healthier when they have a wife, right? It's scientifically proven that when a man has a woman, his status goes up. When I am with my husband and we see other men with their wives, those men carry themselves differently. They hold their head higher when they have a wife. So when a man asks you, what do you bring to the table? You bring yourself, your energy, right? When he comes home, a man could easily just go to his apartment that has a few pieces of furniture and ugly yellow lighting. But what us women do, we provide a sense of vulnerability, of, nurture. We provide that for a man that he cannot find with his other fellow masculine energy men that he goes to work with. And men really don't want to admit that or believe that, but it is very vital for a man to have a woman. And that's also why so many men hook up all the time. Men constantly want bodies because not only does them having that many women, again, levels up their social status, makes them look like a player, makes them look like that they get so many women. They're harvesting your feminine energy when they sleep with you. You give them creativity, you give them that ego boost, you're giving them that sense of security in themselves to make themselves feel better. And usually when us women engage in hookup with a man, we're not left with any of that. Men do not provide us safety when they hook up with us. They don't provide us with any value at all. There's no healthy communication. They don't give us that emotional safety, that mental safety, physical safety, all of those things. So that's why the whole, oh, well, what do you bring to the table? You need me. Men need women. When we allow them to sleep with us and we can carry on their lineage, yeah, that's what I bring. Doesn't even matter if you don't want kids. Men crave feminine energy. They need it to actually be happy. So don't let a dusty or a bum type of guy tell you that, oh, you just bring yourself. Like, what does that do for me? He doesn't understand yet. He sees things as too transactional, and he wants to see life as fair. Do not settle with a man that just believes that you have to bring something physical into a relationship in order for it to be successful, because that is not true. Our energies matter. The masculine and feminine polarity is what brings a happy couple to fruition, okay? Let me see. And I want to also say this really applies for men who purposefully withhold money and have no motivation. So there's a lot of relationships where you can have an amazing man and you can live in an expensive city, and if you have to split rent, you split rent. My point is, does he provide, yes, he's providing you rent. Yes, maybe he provides you with the gas and water bill, but is he providing you with safety in the home? Can you sense a man that has motivation, that when you have children, that he is going to be able to provide for those children, that he is not going to have to rely solely on you when you are X amount of months pregnant and you can barely walk, right? You want a guy that's going to be able to properly take care of you. Okay. And a man with no motivation, like a lot of these 50-50 bum type men, they are not going to understand your value as a woman. They're not going to understand what your feminine energy does in the relationship. They're going to probably take advantage of it. So that's why it's very crucial that, okay, if you meet a man and their first instinct is, what do you bring to the table? I only do 50-50 relationships. Like, okay, I'll pay for this date, you pay for the next one. If that's already their mindset going into it, they are not ready. They are not ready for you, and they do not understand the value of what a woman is, okay? It's not just finances for 50-50 relationships. It's if his energy is out of alignment, right? People come onto hard times every day, and finances will change. But does your man have the motivation to keep going? Is he motivated to, okay, right now we're in this 50-50 mode. I want to make sure that I am the sole provider by the time we have children. Or does he decide to stay stagnant and does not want to grow? If you have a man that does not have a growth mindset, which is a lot of these 50-50 men that want to do 50-50 because it's fair for the rest of their lives, they are going to keep you down. They are going to prevent you from success. They're going to prevent you from self-care. They're going to prevent you from enhancing your feminine energy. And when you are in a moment or a season where maybe you're in tough times, or maybe he got laid off from his job, does he expect you to carry and motivate him? Is he relying now on you to carry all the emotional baggage, to handle all the finances? Or is he gonna step up and immediately be like, okay, I'm gonna go apply to this, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna make sure, like, okay, I'm gonna pull this out of our stocks, out of our investments, whatever it is. Does he understand that? Because again, a man that has that 50-50 motivation and mindset comes from a place of lack. So as soon as something goes downhill, or he loses his job, or, I don't know what it may be, finances are in the hole, is he going to cower over and cry about it, and he's going to feel defeated, and he needs you to bring his motivation back? Or are you his motivation? That's the difference. A man will either see your value as a woman and you will naturally motivate him, or he is not going to understand the value and what you bring to the relationship as a woman, and he's going to expect you to fix everything, to solve everything, to make him feel safe, when that is not it. Feminine women need, like I said in the beginning, we need safety. Yes, we can bring that onto ourselves. We work to make ourselves feel safe. And then we allow our vulnerability to come out when we meet a man, and we test, okay, does he make me feel safe? Does he make me, does he change my mindset? Does he make me feel like I'm lacking something? Does he diminish my accomplishments? Does he make me feel like I have to consistently pull my weight? If a man expects you to constantly do that and you have to be the one motivating him to be better, then he's a low value man and he's not worth your time. You and your femininity and your feminine energy as a woman inspire him to keep going. That is the most important thing. That's why 50-50 relationships really don't make much sense to me if, of course, if it's a circumstance where a man can probably fully provide and it's in fairness to him. Because what do you mean that you need someone else's money to motivate you to pay the rent, or you need someone else's income to make you want to put in the effort, right? A man should want to take you out on a date, not because, oh, you paid the rent, like we can go out, like thank you for doing that. It should be your energy. A man is going to want to take care of you and cater to you, not because of, you give him financial stability. That doesn't make sense. Again, they see it as transactional. A man is going to want to provide and care for you because he knows the value in your womanhood, and he knows that what you bring is a nurturing, loving, and caring environment, okay? A provider man is going to put in the same energy that you put in for him. He's going to want to make sure that you are not living in a state of lack. He's going to be when you're in a relationship, you want to admire each other. Why would you want to be with someone that has no goals or no motivation or anything? Because remember, we're most like the people we surround ourselves with. If you're around 5 people and you're maybe dating 3 different guys and they're all bums, okay, you're going to be in that bum mentality and in that bum mindset. You're not going to attract more wealth. You're not going to attract men that actually want to cater to you and take care of you. Why? Because you are giving your energy to men that don't see your value. So it's going to be even harder for you to understand and see your own value. So thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Don't let the bums win. Don't allow dusties into your life. What you give out is what you attract. If you give out attention to men that do not deserve it, you're going to keep attracting them. Just remember that. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.